All right, welcome to the snack bite for attendance types. Um, Today we're going to go over just pretty much the attendance page and all the different ways you can use it besides just the basic attendance taking capabilities. So first though, we are going to look at those. Um, I am an NC instructor, so that way you guys can see it the same way you would see your courses. So let me go all the way down to the course that I'm using for that. And we'll go to the attendance page. As we wait, it's pretty typical. So this is what you see right when you go to your attendance page. We have an awesome new layout to where you can just click for whatever your students are for that attendance for that day. Or if you have all of your students, you can just click on the default and it will just select that whole column. This is also nice if you have a bunch of students and you know that only one student is gone or a handful of students are gone, you can just default and then deselect or click wherever else they need to go. So this is kind of handy or very handy and nice and easy to use. So that is the basic use of attendance, and that is the default. I also wanted to highlight the withdrawn students and guest students toggle buttons here. Withdrawn is hidden and so is guest, but sometimes we need to know last date of attendance for those students. So it's nice to be able to show those withdrawn students to be able to see when you last recorded their attendance. Because the second they're removed from your course, that you cannot see them anymore, but we just requested that this be put back on so we can see that attendance. So just knowing that that toggle button is there, as well as guest students, which not as important as the withdrawn students, but it kind of comes together as a package. Okay, so that is your default attendance page. As you can tell at the top, you've got your dates. I just kind of threw some dates in this class because it's not a real class, but your class will have the specific date and time that your class is offered. So every single session, even if it's unfortunately during Thanksgiving, I believe, or spring break, or when we're closed, I believe it will still show a session for that day. So we'll have to cancel those sessions, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. But all of those dates and times are up here at the top, and you can scroll through and click on them however you need to. So if you need to go to November 19th and say, you know, we're going to cancel class this day, or it's Thanksgiving break, and so this session is canceled, you can go to that date up at the top, and then you go to edit session. And this is where you can go over to the status area and choose what you want to do with that session. So if an instructor is sick and they are out and it isn't anything to do with the school, you can cancel instructor out, cancel rescheduled, canceled school holiday, which is what we would do for Thanksgiving or spring break. Canceled no reason, that's also an option, but this is where you would do that. And then let's say I'm going to go ahead and say school holiday and save. Then you will see at the top, maybe, go back over here. That was the 19th, I believe, is where I did that. When I click on the 19th, it doesn't give you the option to take attendance anymore. So there's no confusion there. Once you cancel it, it tells you why you canceled it and that you don't need to take attendance. Okay. I'm going to go back over here to the beginning. All right. So also notice once you do take attendance, you have the green check mark. So when you've completely filled out a spot for each of your students, you'll get the green check mark and you'll get this notification saying that your date has been fully graded for that session, or your attendance has been fully graded for that session. Also wanting to bring light or bring your attention to the fact that if you take attendance after class, which I don't know, maybe you do. I have an instructor who does. He does it as a pencil paper kind of situation and then goes back to his office and puts attendance in. And unfortunately, once your session closes, so let's say this session is from 1:30 to 2:30. If I go into my office at 2:45 to put my attendance in, it's already adjusted to the next day for attendance. So it would go to the next day automatically. And if you're not paying attention to the top up here, you're putting attendance down for the wrong date. So just make sure if you're taking attendance, you take attendance within the window. And if you're not within the window of your class time, pay attention to these dates up here at the top. So that way your attendance goes on the correct date. That is a situation that we ran into. And so I just always try to highlight that so everyone knows that that is something that happens. It just automatically adjusts to the next date. Okay, any questions about any of that? No? Okay, perfect. So let's go up here to attendance settings. We have a couple different, maybe actually, I'm sorry, that's gonna be bonkers with the spinning wheel. I don't know why it's spinning like that so much. But we have 3 different kinds of attendance. And in the attendance settings is where we will adjust some of the different settings for that. So I should really show you those different settings or different types before we go into those settings. First type is obviously this basic default type. Then which is called roster list. Then we have roll call. I will show you that. That is where it shows your contact information in the picture a little bit bigger than it does in the list. So if you're wanting to see each of your students, oh, it didn't change for me. One moment. It should. Let me see. Maybe I'll go to a different date. Maybe because I already took attendance, it doesn't want to switch. But it will show the card, the contact card for your students. And then you can choose on each individual student their attendance. Well, it's not wanting to work today. So we will just move forward with maybe, oh, there we go. Okay. So session 1 was done with roster list. Session 2, we're using roll call. This would normally be a picture. So once your students upload their profile picture, you'll be able to see them and you can just click on present tardy, whichever option you need to per person. This, for me is takes a little bit longer because I like to just put the check mark in where everybody is present and then deselect or change for the other people. But this is kind of nice when you're trying to figure out your students and what they look like if the pictures are up there. Okay, so that is roll call. Then the other option is code entry. I actually currently use this option with my students in my CSIS 131 class. We come in, I get the computer going, and they pull up, or I pull up the QR code. And they can scan it or they can type in, hold on. Okay, they can scan it or they can type in the code and it will track them depending on what settings I've set up. It'll track them in the class for present, tardy, unexcused, all the different options. And I don't have to worry about going through everyone's name, making sure I've tracked, make sure everyone's there. So what we will do is we will go to the code entry settings under attendance settings. And we can set it to where, first of all, rolling code. This means that the code changes every 20 seconds, I believe. So that way we get away from cheating, or not cheating, but saying you're present when you're not. Like a student can send the QR code to you while you're in bed or give you the code some other way. So I always do the rolling code. So they actually have to be in class and they have to be putting in the code that's showing at that time. And then you have your timers. So mark as present, never. Well, we don't want that. So we would change that to before. I say before 5 minutes before. So if I have this up and running 5 minutes before class starts, they can still be marked as present. And so 5 minutes before session start time, they can be marked as present. And then you can go through and you can set all these different things. So if they are 15 minutes after session start time, when they scan that code, it is tardy. Okay. So you can go through and you can set these up. I like to go, I think I have mine set up to just have those options. And then I think even unexcused, I leave as never, because I want to make sure I'm marking those. If I do have a student email me, that's obviously an excused absence, and then the unexcused if I don't hear anything from them. So that's the way I have it set up. So they scan the code from 5 minutes before all the way up to the 15 minutes after, they're counted as present. And then once they hit 15 minutes after session start time, it changes it to tardy. Okay, so we have those set up for code entry now. Then we can go back to that session we created that had code entry. And now I have these buttons here. If I choose print, it's going to give me, maybe, it'll give me a page that I can print out. It doesn't want to. I think because I did rolling code, it's not going to let me print it. But if you do a static code where it's the same code for every, it doesn't matter what time they come in, you can print it and like put it on the whiteboard or on your door, and they can scan it as they're coming in. But for me, I click this launch button and it launches another page. And then you get this QR code, or they can type this in. So the thing that they have to do, your students have to be logged into My Neoshow. So they'll log into My Neoshow on their phones, or they can do it on a computer. And if they're doing the QR code, they'll scan the QR code and it will mark them as present. If they're wanting to type it in, there's also a spot on My Neoshow. They just click on attendance and it will pop up with a spot to type in their code, and it will mark them whatever status that you've given them for that time frame. So I leave this up for about 5 minutes before I get started, and usually I don't have a problem with people being late. So you can see it live. I have this on the whiteboard or on the smartboard running, and then on my computer, my instructor computer, I have my attendance page just automatically populating with those the present, or so these right here automatically populate once they scan those codes and they type in the code. So once I see everyone's marked as present and I have everything set up to start going, then I just start with class. So it's really handy. Kind of gives them they're accountable for marking their own attendance. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody see a use for this in your class? No? Okay. I have about 22 students in my class, so it's really handy to not have to go through and mark them all as present or whatever. And then all I have to worry about was if Ima is empty, like she's not counted for, then I can say, excused or unexcused on hers. So it's really handy for me for my size of class. Okay. I'm going to go back to the attendance setting. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
I have a quick question. So do your students find that's difficult to do, or is it just, are they pretty understanding and want to do it?
I think in most situations, the learning curve was about 2 sessions. Like it didn't take long. The first day it was me walking around everybody and showing them like, make sure you're logged in. Oh, there you go. Or it didn't work because you're not logged in. And then now it's just they're logged in and waiting for me to get it open now. So
Okay.
just a little bit of training and, you know, a little legwork on our side, but I think the benefit of time saving is good for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Notifications. So this part, I think it's skipped over. People don't know that this even exists. So we do have this awesome feature where you can send out notifications when students hit a certain amount of tardies or left early, absent. You choose how many. So I like to say after my student, because I have a certain amount of unexcused absences before you get admin withdrawn from my class. And so obviously we want to make sure and let them know you're getting close. Hey, you're getting close. This is your fourth unexcused. So I can say after 4, I'm going to send this to students by email. And then you can put whatever you need in this box. Okay, so um, you don't have to do anything else once you get this set up. It should automatically send it into, oh, email addresses. So I'll have to look into this a little bit more because this is supposed to automatically let them know whenever they are getting closer and closer to these different um, statuses. So this one is asking me for emails. No, I'm so sorry for the confusion. This was who was it from. So I can resend them over and over if I need to, but right now it's going to go to the students and instructors for anybody that's 4 unexcused absences. Then you can come down here and you can say, instead of after 4, you can say, actually, I want to send it after percentage of all of your tardies or all of your attendance statuses. This percent is tardy. And then you're going to send an email for that. So it's kind of just a notification system to let the students know where they are with attendance. Some people don't think it's necessary. I use it as part of a, hey, you need to be in class kind of situation. I also send them personal emails for me when they're getting close, but this is an automated email. So you don't have to be tracking it, especially if you have a bunch of students in your class. And then your last option is the consecutive. So obviously, if you have a student that's gone for multiple days in a row, this is going to automatically send them that message, depending on if it's tardy, left early, or unexcused. You don't have to track it for them. You just know that in my class, if you have 4 consecutive tardies, you get this email letting you know that this is what's happening. This many unexcused, this many late. You can set that all up here, and I'm more than happy to help you walk through all of that. Any questions about that?
Yeah, if we use this notification for one semester and we copy our course to the next one, do the notification settings stay there? Or do we have to update them again?
That's a good question. I'll have to do some investigating on that on my other courses. I like to go in and play around with it every semester. So I can't remember if it copied over or if it was blank when I went in. So I'll have to do some digging and I'll get back to you on that. That's a great question. Anything
At some
else?
point in the future, Maggie,
Yeah.
would there be a possibility to add advisors to that list?
Oh. That has to do with making it custom, so I'm not sure, but I will definitely ask. I wonder if you could put it under the email option. We'll see. I wonder if we could put the advisor under this right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't always know, like, especially our gen ed classes, if they would know.
Yeah, that's true. If it's not specified, then it'd be really hard. I'll ask. Anything else? Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you was some of the details on just the sessions themselves. So you can tell that there's a comment little image here for each individual student. And then it's defaulted to be visible to the student. But if you're needing to make a comment like, Cheesy was here, but slept the whole session. Obviously, I don't really need Cheesy to see that, but I want to make that note for myself. So you can make that note on that session just about Cheesy. Or if you do want Cheesy to know, hey, you were here, but you slept the whole session, you can leave that as visible to the student and make that comment. Okay. So that is just another form of communication with our students. Whoops, I clicked on the wrong button. It's okay. I clicked on the name of Cheesy. And when I do that, it would normally bring up all of the attendance that's been taken for Cheesy. For some reason, it's erroring out on me. But if you click on the student's name, it'll take you to the page and it'll show you all of the options for dates of attendance and what you've recorded for those students, for that student. You can expand on any of the sessions and click on the comment button and leave comments on those pages as well. So I clicked on this comment button here to make that comment happen. And then when you click on the name of the student, it will take you to a page that shows all of the sessions and what that student's status was for those sessions. And it will also give you the comment option there for those students. All right, manage sessions. So we have recorded attendance here. That's why we have a green check mark. And the rest of them have not started yet. So this one's for tomorrow. So there's nothing here showing that I'm missing it or that I have recorded it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like for a session in one of my current classes. So we have green check marks, and then I am missing an attendance right here. So I can go in and be like, wait a minute, that's Labor Day weekend. So I really need to go in and just show that as canceled for a holiday. Down here, I was out sick. So you can see that there's a message there, meaning it was canceled and that instructor was out. Okay. This one just did not have attendance taken at all on October 23rd. So I need to go in and check on that. So that's kind of handy whenever if you are a person that tracks attendance heavily like I do, this is really a handy page to look at whenever you need to see whether or not you're missing any attendance. So you go to managed or manage sessions to see that. Okay. You can also see over here the attendance method. So most of mine on you can see most of mine are code entry. If I do roster list, it's usually when I'm doing an exam or something we need to get started on right away, and I just do rapid fire, run through all the names really quick. Most of the time though, we do code entry. Okay. And last, we have the option to export to Excel. Okay, click on that. It will download. Into an Excel spreadsheet. And all of these below are withdrawn students, and then here are the students that were there, and then you can see that it's got the status here. So if you needed that printed out, you have that option. Now, real quick, I forgot, I wanted to show you before we get out of here, the graded attendance piece. So if you go to the grade book, it's under evaluations. And then this is the only thing that shows up by default. If you click on the pencil, you can choose whether or not it's included in your final grade. So I usually do include it. I usually make it worth 100 points. I have a lot of points in my concepts class, so obviously you wouldn't want to do 100 if you're not a point heavy class. Then I go through and I put different things in for these different sections. So partial credit grading for any of these things, attendance grade failure. So if a student is unexcused for, I think, let's say 10 sessions, grade failure. I'm sorry, this is 5. So 5 sessions for just getting 0 out of 100 on this. And then if a student is marked unexcused, absent for 10 sessions, then they course failure. So that's an automatic thing that you can put in there as well. Click save. And now it is set up to, and it's saying not included for some reason. I just think this is because it's not set up completely. Because this course is not set up completely. Okay. Any questions about adding attendance to your grade column? Do any of you do that? No. I keep attendance all year round. So, or not all year round, for the whole semester. And so this is, attendance is very important to me. So I use it as an incentive for students to show up, that you get, you know, an easy A if you are in class. That is my participation score, is the attendance. So that's all I have to show you in that quick 30 minutes. Do you guys have any questions about the attendance page that I did not go over today, or anything that you want me to expand on? Anything at all? No? Okay. Well, this is recorded, so if you want to refer back to it, it will be in our Lunch Byte, Snack Byte YouTube list. So check it out there. If you come up with any thoughts or input or questions after this session, just send me an email at online@neosho.edu, and I'd be really happy to answer your questions or work through any situations with you. Otherwise, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.